Right guys, it's going to be a solo 1080 Master Nightfall on the Lake of Shadows on a Warlock without the use of any Pinnacle weapons or Taken / raid mods. So for the start, in terms of what I was using, for your resistance, because we haven't got Taken Barrier on, you want to be using around ×2 Concussive Dampeners, 2 Boss Resists, and 1 Minor Resist. I found that to work really well. You know, because you're covering all bases. The Boss Resist works on champions, minors on minors, of course, concussive against a whole range of area of effect attacks that are against you, which can happen in this Nightfall. A bunch of ammo perks, you know, Scavengers for my primary, and sword ammo, because Famine's on, so we need to counter that. So with this start, we're going to actually push the Blight. Reason being is because the Blight is our safe zone. As this Blight does not do tick damage to you, a couple of these Blights don't, for whatever reason. So it's actually a safe area because that's like a mini bubble. So you can sword all the enemies that you need. Also these arc shielded phalanxes, it negates them because they do their Void Blast, but their Void Blast can't penetrate the Blight. Okay. If the phalanx is inside the Blight with you, then go outside the Blight, you know, if you're weak, for example. I generally use sword to take out those scions as they duplicate a lot when you try to primary them down. I also went to the tribute hall before starting this. Reason being is because we don't have taken armaments on, we can't fill back up on our heavy so much, so we're relying on ammo finders, which you need an arc helmet for the sword ammo finder. You cannot have that on any other helmet. You can put heavy ammo finder on, which would also work, I guess. Other perks that we had on, we had high energy fire, shield break, lucent blade, charged up, supercharged. Now that means every time we stun a unstoppable or a overload, we get the 20% damage buff. We can do the standard high energy fire build where we keep our high energy fire, like so. Like I've basically bored that champion down. But we've also got Lucent Blade on. Now Lucent Blade will override your standard 20% when you actually physically use your sword. So you can get your 20% high energy fire for your bow. You can get your 35% damage buff with Lucent Blade when you use your sword. So that's why I've got both sort of traits on. Now with Devil's Ruin, we can stun 2 champions at a time. Hand cannons can do this, explosive rounds ones. But Devil Ruins is even easier because you can get round certain angles, like I had a bad angle there. But as long as like the beam hits a champion for literally half a second or so, or even less, that will trigger the unstoppable. If you hit the shield, sometimes not. If you get immune. So with this part, we're just clearing out all the thrall, whatnot. So basically with the build I mentioned before, with all the charged up and supercharged mods, essentially, without any additional stacks with Charge of Light, you are allowed to get a ×2 stack base. It's not ×1, it's ×2 for whatever reason. The charged up gives us a ×1 plus, and the supercharged gives us a ×2. So all in all, it's ×5, not ×4. So we can get ×5, sorry, max, which is really handy for what we're doing, as we want to conserve as much ammo as possible. As you see here, I stun a champion. I do 1 light swing and then a heavy attack and then a finisher. This is really good for ammo, conserving your ammo. So that's another reason why the Lucent Blade is really good. We do the light swing to activate Keened, then we do our heavy. With this section, this might be the most annoying part because the Taken Knights, they get immune and then spam the Taken walls that they do. Plus we have a sidearm on that's solar, so it hasn't got the range. The beam has got the range, but it's just getting the opportunity. The best thing to do is dodge in the walls and get all goblins first. We do have a solar nade if they bunch up as well, which on my occasion the ads didn't really bunch up. I didn't end up using it. But if they're all bunched up, it's a good thing to do an aid. Okay, so we got the captain, but we also done a stun, which was not intentional. As you can see here with the resistance mods helping out. Pretty weak there, but we retreat for the 2 additional unstoppables. We get a stop on 1. I am aware of the other side of the other champ. We have our sword equipped just in case he boops us. If he does, I'll just do an instant block to negate any physic damage we might take. Same with the unstoppables, the same thing. We just do a stop, do a light swing, and then a heavy, and then they're done. Now on with the last blight. Any ammo, if you're low on any particular ammo, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's your bow, whether it's Devil's Ruin, whether it's your sword, make sure you're managing it all the time because of Famine. Because of my setup with all the ammo finders and the scavengers, it negates Famine completely. Not completely, but almost to the case where I can be more reckless than what I would be without. Obviously, if you've got taken armaments, use it. Okay, you may as well while it's here. But for those that don't have taken armaments, you know, here it is without. So we're doing a well of Radiance here on this spawn. Reason being for that is so that we can take down the arc shield, as we don't have arc on. Swords bypass elemental shields. They don't do any damage to the shield, they just bypass it and take away the enemy's health. So that's how we can get away with that. It's just kind of nice doing a well there. Negates it all, and we can take out both overloads relatively easily. I even screwed up and took the first overload before overloading, and you know, still wasn't a problem. This section I don't advise skipping. When you're doing a no raid mod, no no taken armament run, try not to be skipping ads. Reason being is because they can help you out with dropping ammo. Now you want to be constantly switching your ammo weapons up as well. It is okay when you do. This is why it's kind of good doing double primary heavy, because special weapon ammo is not dropping, right? So it's really good in that sense. And Devil's Ruin works really good in this Nightfall. It works good on unstoppables in general. It's a really good exotic for what it's worth. I wouldn't say it's a meta or anything. You know, it's in certain situations, but it you know, it is good, and it's good at ripping down shields and stuff for a primary weapon. Very good at, you know, doing its job. So we'll finish off that captain by overloading him. Prevents him from doing walls sometimes like that. It's handy. We'll have a yellow bar captain to deal with down here. I generally take him from these stairs. You can also go down there and sword, just that is kind of risky though, without, you know, full resistance mods. So we, like I said, we can take it from here. Also, we're saving on sword ammo because you need a lot of it. Because even though it's a short strike and stuff, there is a lot of champs, quite a lot of champs in here. The yellow bar's finishable. We've got a couple of heavy bricks which we're gonna keep a hold of. We did end up picking one up because we got booked into it. That's fine. Full up on our bow ammo, sidearm, everything. Now with these next two unstoppables, I'm gonna stop them both like that, which is consistent. You can do it. And then when you take one out, I would retreat. The other one will probably be weak from the shared damage. We're going to finish with Devil's Ruin for that. I have noticed that, for those that know, with this Nightfall, especially when it was double loot week, and weeks before that, the champions are often bugged. I haven't run it. I've maybe run it 3 or 4 times, and the champions have not been bugged once. i.e. the Overload champions. They're not regenerating their health constant. So maybe they fixed it at some point, I'm not sure, but hasn't happened for myself anyways. Okay, so now we're just taking care of these Scions. There's a wizard, a 1-hit target, which we let... you want to let the wizard target retreat. Just a waste of ammo at this point, and we don't need it for platinum. So up ahead we're going to have a 3 overloads and 1 unstoppable. With this overload we just kind of take them from this platform. It's a good place to do so. You do not get sniped from the snipers at the very back. You can strafe in and out of their shots also, or do a healing and tank the damage, up to yourself. Just make sure you're fully drawn your bow. What I've noticed in the past, like not particularly today but with myself, I'm maybe spamming my bow and one of my bow shots isn't fully drawn and it hits a champ without them being overloaded. They do their enraged attack, so just make sure you're fully drawn. That's not going to happen so much with myself because I've got the Archer's tempo on it, so it's a real snappy bow. Also it's worth doing a heavy attack on those Scions just because they multiply so much, so just going in there with a heavy just clears it all out. Plus we've got bricks behind us. This is another good angle to take out the second overload. The snipers can get us from here, but we just do the strafe in and out, like so. As you can see, this bow does massive damage, combining the fact with all its perks, and also we can stack up on Charge of Light. As you noticed, I got the ×3 there. One thing I could have run in this whole thing, which I didn't, I ran Shield Break Charge, but if maybe I've put a Void piece on, whatever piece I had Shield Break Charge on, I can't mind. If I put a Void piece on and ran a Protective Light with this build, it would have worked out not so bad. It would just be that extra cushion of safety. We're going to do a stun here to get a skip. We're not skipping the chance, but we're going past them to clear this knight. I just do a well here just in case that champion was to kill us, as we don't really need it again till the final boss. So we can also take advantage of having our well up and take the remaining champions. If you were to take the champions on the other side, you'll find it'll be a lot harder. Taking them from here just eases it up. It means there's cover for you. You can strafe in and out like so. Right here I decided to save up on a little bit of ammo. I mean, I've got max, but like I said, you can get unlucky and not get bricks. It just all depends. But all I can say is make sure you have the ammo finders on and stuff. Oh, I'd run heavy finisher. That's something I could have done, but I wasn't going to reset my artifact for it, as I'd reset my artifact for another mod, and I'm on like 80k resets now, so I wasn't looking to do it. But if you do have a heavy ammo finisher, put that on. That's going to be a consistent way, because you don't really need your super. The only time you need your super is at the final boss. But you can wait out for your super anyways. If you've spammed heavy finisher and you've lost super energy and stuff, you can just wait at the boss. Just wait 3-4 minutes for your super, then start up, take the blight, and then you're good to go. I'm gonna stop here. Notice we take out all the goblins first, as the goblins can tether the unstoppable, meaning we do immune damage. So that's no good. So it's goblins first, retreat if you need for health, back in the corridor. And then we can start with the next part. So the knight fell off the map, which was fine, but if he hadn't, Devil's Rune would have been able to, deal with that. Now we'll play this next part slow, as there's an orange bar knight that's kind of deadly. Concussive Dampener helps with that knight, by the way. And there's an Overlord champion and goblins. So you want to try and take as much goblins as you can from back here before you push up. Even stun the champion if you need to get a shot on a goblin, as that goblin is in a awkward angle. Once you've cleared out all goblins, you want to get a stun on the champ and then take the knight. We've got a solar nade for that, and then we do a bit of Devil's Ruin as well. That will enrage the champion, which is why I'm hiding, like I am. What happened to me here is very intelligent by the enemy, but the Overlord can do this. They can strafe around to the balcony like that and get an angle on you. Which I wasn't expecting, but I have seen it happen, just it's rare that it happens. Just be aware of it. That's why we're on the stairs, though. We could have head glitched the champ. So now we're trying to get the champion in a good spot. We don't really want him on the balcony, as the railings can get in your way of your shots depending on how this champion is stunned. So you want to take the champion from this angle right here. We're just taking the champion out with primary, as we're not wanting to use any heavy until we get a brick on the floor. Plus we still need to use more heavy for a Void Shield Wizard, which you have to take down with the sword. This part, another orange bar knight. Again, we had a nade for that. Use Devil's Ruin and whatnot. We've got to be cautious and know when to strafe out of that fire. The knight is also immune by a goblin, so we need to take that goblin first. At that point we're good, we can finish off. We've got a brick like so, which is really handy. What happened there was the brick got pushed by the boot wall onto me, so I wasn't wanting to do that. I was wanting to save the brick, kill the wizard with my sword, then come back for the brick. Oh, it was okay. I advise you clear the adds out in this room first, then you take out the wizard. Sometimes you can wipe if you go for the wizard first and the wizard hits you, a dark thrall hits you, and the goblins, if they all hit you at once, then that can be a wipe. So you're better off, again, like I said, on these types of runs you don't want to be skipping ads anyways, because of just the main reason of ammo. Now on to the final section. We're going to have 3 more overlords, and there's no champions at the boss, which I'm sure most of us are aware by now from how many people ran it when it was double loot week. I'm not sure, they haven't made it double loot this week, so, which was surprising. I thought they would maybe do it again. So with this champion here, we're just going to decide to use our bow. And take out this champion first. You don't want to push up in this room before you take out the champion. Once we take the champion out, we're going to come to this section here and try to clear the goblins. We have a nade for that, where all the scions group up. And we can take the goblins as they make the sounds immune, or can do. Try to pay attention to any heavy drops, which I didn't get any additional. That's fine, our armor situation's pretty good. I think minimum you want around 40 ammo for the boss, or just below that. I wouldn't go any lower than that. This sword here, which I forgot to mention, Fallen Guillotine, has Relentless Strikes, Whirlwind Blade. If you do not have Relentless Strikes on your sword, then you're going to want more ammo then. Also, any sword would work for this one phase. It's not just Guillotine. I'm just using it because it's popular. but I could have used any sword. But most swords that we have are getting sunset, so I just figured just use what's going to be going forward. And this is one. Another one is a solar sword from Prophecy, which is it's actually a good sword. And Guillotine's going to be getting nerfed a little bit, so other swords will be a little bit more relevant. It all depends on what perks you've got on the sword. That's the biggest thing. So what we're doing here is, like I said, with the build, we've got Supercharged charged up on, so that we can get a maximum of ×5. So rather than sword that last champion, we farmed the counter charge off that champion to get a ×5. That way we can use Lucent Blade, which is a 35% buff. So it's going to be higher than our well, so it's not going to stack on our well, but the well's for safety, Lucent Blade is for damage. It's 35% every time it procs. Plus it's an increase in heavy recharge rate. We're going to take out the blight. You want to pop a well range immediately, and then when you start out with your heavy as soon as you can, you got keen to proc straight away, and then you'll eventually build up to ×5, providing you've got a whirlwind blade sword, which you should have. And you just want to time your heavy attacks, just do a heavy every time you get that charge. Once you get that kill, you want to save a nade. This is important. So you've seen I saved a nade there to back up to this pillar. Then we do a healing, and then we just hide behind this pillar. It's important. If you do not do that, the ads will wipe you, and you will not get CP. You won't get the defeat. You won't get the loot, and you'll have to start the boss fight again. Therefore, having to farm a super up, what have you. You don't want to do that. So make sure you save your healing nade, save a healing rift, and you'll survive the ads, because they last up a lot, longer after the boss is killed. That was the run anyways. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.